Coach Lisa Marie. This is CVP Coaching, where we sing it like we mean it. Today is video 2 of our breathing session series. We're going to talk about how to fill and maintain our air tank between 80 and 100% at all times. Now, if you're not familiar with this phrase that I'm using, air tank, please go back and watch video 1 of the breathing session series where I define what is your air tank and also explain many of the benefits of maintaining our air tank between 80 and 100% at all times. So first we're going to talk about filling our air tank, because if we want to maintain it between 80 and 100%, we got to get it filled up first, okay? So now in video 1, I explain a flying breath, which simply looks like this. We breathe in through our nose and out through our mouth, and we inhale air and exhale voice. So a flying breath is when we inhale air and we exhale voice. We also extend our arms up to our shoulders so that we can expand our lungs and take in as much air as possible. Ready? Let's do that. Ho! Great. So a flying breath is when we inhale air through our nose, but we exhale voice through our mouth. We also extend our arms up to our shoulders so that we can expand out our lungs and take in as much air as possible on that breath. Ready? Let's do that. Ho! Great. So now that we're aware of just how much air we can actually take in when we take a good deep breath, we are one step closer to filling and maintaining that air tank between 80 and 100% at all times. So let's talk about filling the air tank, all right? How do you get it to 100%? How do you know if you're at 100%? Good question. And before I go any further, I always recommend to clients that you take notes on all of these catchphrases that I use, because they are intended to help you remember your new approach to singing. So hopefully you'd stop this video long enough to get yourself something to write on. And here are the first things I want you to write down. We're going to talk about the 2 types of breaths that are going to fill and maintain our air tank between 80 and 100%. The first one is called your starter breath. This is like being at the starting gate, and it's that gun that launches you into this race, okay? So here's the definition of a starter breath. A breath is the first word of every phrase, okay? Write that down, and then I will explain what that means. Now, when you take this definition of a starter breath and you apply it to, for example, our flying breath, hey, then hey is the second word of that phrase. And the breath that we just took in, that is actually the first word of the phrase. And we want to put those together. Now, it seems obvious, right? But you know, a lot of clients I have found over the years will take in a breath and then they hold it for just a second. I don't really know what the hesitation is, if it's insecurity or they just forgot what they were going to do, or they're just not sure it's going to come out all the way that they want it to come out. Well, unfortunately, when we do that, when we hold our breath even momentarily for a split second, we lose the momentum of the breath. Your voice is no longer going to be as pronounced, as strong, as smooth. You're not going to even have as much air behind that voice anymore. So you've got to take in that breath and then go ahead and exhale that beautiful voice, and you've got to trust that that voice is going to be good, strong, and smooth and have its best possible sound. Listen, we need to understand that as singers, our number one goal is to sing our absolute best, to sound our absolute best with the least amount of strain on the vocal cords. That is our number one goal, right? Okay, so this starter breath is going to set you up to start out in the right position. That's why I call it a starter breath. It's like a starter gun. It lets your voice know it's time to go. It's time to go out and make that noise, okay? And you want to make it with the biggest, strongest presence that it can have. A starter breath is like your launch pad into the verse or chorus or bridge or whatever section that you are getting ready to sing. So I mentioned in video 1 that your air tank includes the shoulders, and that the shoulders are a really important inclusion in measuring whether or not we are actually taking in enough air for singing or if we're just breathing for survival, right? Equally so, our shoulders tell us whether or not we are taking a true starter breath or, again, just breathing for survival. So a starter breath should always cause your shoulders to rise. Now, you're not doing this on every breath. This is just a starter breath. A starter breath is taken at the beginning of a chorus, a verse, or a bridge, a section of a song. You want to make sure that you have taken a good starter breath and you are ready to launch into that section of the song. And you'll know you're ready if your shoulders were caused to rise when you took that breath. So to be clear, that is a starter breath. I just took a starter breath at the beginning of this section of what I'm saying. I want to make sure that I take a starter breath so that my voice comes out as strong and smooth as possible with the least amount of strain on my vocal cords. Now, to be clear, I am taking a starter breath at the beginning of every little section that I'm recording for you. It may not look natural to you, or you may think to yourself, gee, I never even noticed that she was doing that until she pointed it out. Regardless, it may not feel natural to you when you start doing it either, but after a while, it will become as natural as breathing, no pun intended. So once again, when I take a good starter breath, it is going to give my voice the best tone, the best pitch, the best control over all of my wild movement. It's going to give me the strongest presence of my voice with the least amount of strain on my voice. A starter breath is also a confidence booster. It's going to improve my stance and my posture, and even the look on my face is going to be more confident because I have taken in a nice good breath which puts me in the right stance and gives me that burst of energy that I need to take my voice exactly where I want it to go.